Lily. As she busied herself in the kitchen, I lounged on the couch, idly scrolling through my phone. It was then that I remembered she had mentioned a new recipe she wanted to try, buried somewhere in her messages. "Hey Lily, do you mind if I borrow your phone for a sec? I need to check something," I called out, trying to keep my voice casual. "Sure, it's on the counter," she replied, her back still turned to me as she chopped vegetables. I grabbed her phone and unlocked it, my fingers moving on autopilot as I navigated to her messaging app. But as I scrolled through her conversations, what I found left me frozen in disbelief. Texts upon texts with a coworker named Logan, filled with flirtatious banter and declarations of love. My heart hammered in my chest as I read each message, feeling like a trespasser in my own marriage. "Hey Lily," I said, my voice shaking slightly as I tried to keep it steady. "Can you come here for a sec? I need to talk to you about something." She joined me on the couch, a puzzled look on her face. "What's up?" I handed her phone back to her, unable to meet her gaze as I whispered, "I found your messages with Logan." Her eyes widened in shock as she quickly scanned the screen. "It's not what you think, I swear," she stammered, her voice tinged with panic. But her words fell on deaf ears as the weight of her betrayal settled over me like a suffocating blanket. Everything I thought I knew about our marriage crumbled in an instant, leaving me adrift in a sea of uncertainty and pain. The days following the discovery of my wife's betrayal were a blur of confusion and heartache. Desperate to salvage our crumbling marriage, I convinced Lily to accompany me to counseling. As we sat in the therapist's office, the air heavy with tension, I clung to a flicker of hope that we could somehow mend the shattered pieces of our relationship. "I just don't understand why you did it, Lily," I murmured, my voice raw with emotion. "We were supposed to be a team." She sat across from me, her gaze fixed on the floor, her fingers twisting nervously in her lap. "I don't know," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I guess I was just lost." The therapist listened patiently as we recounted the events leading up to the affair, her gentle probing questions exposing the cracks in our marriage that we had been too blind to see. But despite her efforts to guide us toward healing, Lily remained stubbornly resistant, her walls of denial towering high. "We can't just sweep this under the rug, Lily," I pleaded, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. "We need to confront what happened and figure out how to move forward." But Lily's response was a stone wall of silence, her refusal to acknowledge the pain she had caused, leaving me feeling more alone than ever. Each counseling session became a battleground, the divide between us widening with each passing day. "I can't do this anymore, Lily," I finally confessed, the words heavy with resignation. "If you're not willing to fight for us, then what's the point?" Tears welled in her eyes as she reached out to touch my hand, but I pulled away, the sting of her betrayal still fresh in my heart. As we left the therapist's office that day, I knew that our marriage hung by a thread, teetering on the brink of irreparable damage. And deep down, I feared that no amount of counseling could ever bridge the gap between us. The weight of my wife's betrayal hung heavy in the air as I grappled with the realization that our marriage was beyond repair. But there was still one piece of the puzzle that needed to be addressed: confronting those who were complicit in her infidelity. With a steady resolve, I made my way to Lily's family home, the weight of my emotions threatening to crush me with each step. As I stood before her parents, their faces a mask of shock and disbelief, I braced myself for the difficult conversation that lay ahead. "I'm sorry to have to tell you this," I began, my voice trembling slightly with emotion, "but Lily has been having an affair with a coworker named Logan." The words hung in the air like a heady fog, suffocating the room with their weight. Her parents exchanged a look of disbelief, their expressions a mirror of my own turmoil. "How could this happen?" her mother whispered, her voice choked with emotion. I shook my head, my own heart heavy with the burden of betrayal. "I wish I knew," I replied, the words tasting bitter on my tongue. But the confrontation didn't end there. Determined to expose the truth, I sought out Logan's wife, hoping to find some solace in the shared pain of betrayal. "I'm sorry to have to tell you this," I said, my voice strained with emotion, "but your husband has been having an affair with my wife." Her eyes widened in shock, the color draining from her face as the weight of my words settled over her like a suffocating blanket. "I had no idea," she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. As the truth of their betrayal began to unravel, so too did the fragile facade of our marriage. Lily's anger and defiance only served to deepen the chasm between us. Her refusal to leave her job or cut ties with her lover, leaving me feeling more helpless than ever. And as I left her family home that day, the weight of my decision to confront the truth pressing heavily on my shoulders, I knew that our marriage was beyond repair. But amidst the wreckage of our shattered dreams, a glimmer of hope flickered in the darkness. The hope of finding closure and moving forward, no matter how painful the journey may be. The decision loomed over me like a dark cloud, casting a shadow over every aspect of my life. Despite my desperate attempts to salvage our marriage, it became painfully clear that Lily's heart was no longer in it. Each counseling session felt like a futile exercise in denial, and her refusal to cut ties with her affair partner only deepened the wound. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the weight of our broken marriage became too much to bear. I found myself consumed by a sense of hopelessness, drowning in a sea of uncertainty and pain. But amidst the chaos, a small voice whispered in the depths of my soul, urging me to find the courage to let go. "It's time," I finally admitted to myself one sleepless night, the words heavy with resignation. "I can't continue living like this." With a heavy heart, I made the painful decision to file for divorce. The paperwork felt like a final nail in the coffin of our shattered dreams, each signature a painful reminder of the life we had once shared. "I can't do this anymore, Lily," I confessed one evening, the words hanging heavy in the air between us. "I'm filing for divorce." Her eyes widened in shock, her voice trembling with emotion as she pleaded, "Please don't do this. I'll do anything to make it right." But it was too little too late. The damage had been done, and no amount of pleading or promises could erase the pain of her betrayal. "I'm sorry," I whispered, my voice thick with emotion, "but it's over." And as I walked away from our marriage, the weight of my decision pressing heavily on my shoulders, I knew that it was the only choice I could make. For in the end, sometimes letting go is the bravest thing we can do. With the divorce proceedings looming ahead, I found myself grappling with a whirlwind of emotions. The decision to end our marriage had been agonizing, but amidst the pain, I clung to a glimmer of hope, the hope of finding closure and finally moving forward. As I navigated the complexities of legal paperwork and court dates, I also embarked on a journey of personal healing. I threw myself into activities that nourished my soul, seeking solace in the simple joys of life that had once seemed out of reach. But despite my best efforts, closure remained elusive. Lily's secretive behavior continued to haunt me, each unanswered question a dagger in my heart. I longed for the truth, for some semblance of closure that would allow me to finally let go. "I just need to know, Lily," I pleaded one evening, the words tinged with desperation. "Why did you do it? Why did you betray me?" Her eyes filled with tears as she struggled to find the words to explain her actions. "I don't know," she whispered, her voice barely above a whisper. "I was lost, and I made a mistake." But her words offered little comfort, and the ache of betrayal remained as raw as ever. I knew that true closure would only come from within, from finding the strength to forgive and let go. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, I continued to grapple with the ghosts of our past. But amidst the pain, I also found moments of unexpected grace. Moments of laughter with friends, moments of quiet reflection in the stillness of the night. And as I stood on the precipice of a new chapter in my life, I knew that closure was not something I could force or rush. It was a journey, a process of letting go and finding peace in the midst of pain. I may never understand why things ended the way they did, I reflected one evening, the words heavy with acceptance. but I know that I am stronger because of it. And in the end, that's all that matters. Thank you for listening to the story to the end, and if you like it, please support us with a like as well as subscribe to our channel. Write in the comments what you think about the story.